So we're going to have some fun and each share 3 teams that we are most excited to watch this season. Now, it can be for any reason. Like, it's not just because, like, we think they're going to be the best team. It's like, there might be something interesting to watch here. It could be good, could be weird. So that's what we're gonna start with. And I am personally excited for a little bit of quarterback battle drama. Okay? Yes, the media.
Talk about a reality show.
Yeah, this is we've got a couple, like, this would be epic reality shows. Oh, wait, which one is Hard Knocks they were talking about was going to be? Probably Chicago. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's going to be
they're
Chicago.
technically eligible, and clearly, like, that's
probably going to be it. Okay, so the first team I want to start with are the Steelers. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. First, it's Mike Tomlin's last year on his contract. He hasn't had a losing season in 17 years, and he just picked up 2 new quarterbacks that he doesn't have loyalty really to either of them, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And both of these guys have so much to prove this year. Now, from the obvious, what we're hearing, Russ is said to be the starting quarterback. But at the end of the day, Steelers are paying him league minimum. Broncos are paying him millions to play.
The bulk of his salary is still coming from
for another team, and he's coming off a record in Denver, 11-19 over 2 years. He does have a Super Bowl ring and is an established quarterback, but really took a step back with his move with the Broncos. And you have Justin Fields, who also has a career to prove. He did not have a winning season in Chicago. He was 10-28 over 3 years. And then on top of all of that, the Steelers are in a very tough division, the AFC North, with the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, and they don't have an easy schedule at all. And if Russ is struggling halfway through the season, they don't have loyalty to him. I could see him throwing Justin Fields. Let's just see. What do we have to lose? Let's just see what we got. So that is my first team.
That's interesting.
I'm really excited to see.
I think there's something to be said, though, that the Steelers had such a quarterback carousel this year, and Mike Tomlin is going to try to avoid that this year. Like, last season was...
You have 2 starting guys, though, that were starting last year.
I would use the term starting with Justin Fields right now loosely, because I think that the reason that he went to Pittsburgh is to have a development year. And to make sure that he can kind of get back on track, because Chicago didn't do him any favors when he first got into the league, and he needs to gain some of that confidence back. So, like, let him sit back while you have the 9-time Pro Bowler.
But we don't know. What if he's like new environment, new coach, new city, new team? You never know. You never know. That's why. Like, this is why I'm very interested and excited
I'm absolutely
to watch
on board
this
with
team.
you, because I'm very interested to see how this all ends up shaking out. I am going to go to Justin Fields' old team.
Yeah, who's your first
Shocker.
team? Yeah.
Shocker of all shockers. I want to see what the Chicago Bears actually look like this year. It's going to be very interesting because I grew up in Chicago.
Yeah.
I have skewed defense for my entire fandom, my entire life.
Yeah.
I've been all about defense. My favorite player of all time is Lance Briggs. Like, that's all I had to watch.
That was Chicago's identity.
It still is Chicago's
identity. And it's what they
leaned
back. It's like what they fell back on for decades.
Yes, for my entire life.
They were living in the past, man.
If you look at the quarterback play, the Bears have obviously never had a 4,000-yard passer. They've never had a 30-touchdown passer. Their rookie quarterback records are even more dismal. It's like 2,200 yards and 11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see, now that the Bears have invested so much in their offense, what it's actually going to look like with Caleb Williams, who has been training for this moment his entire life. Mm-hmm. This is a guy who, when he was in grade school, said, I'm going to be the first overall pick in the NFL draft. And guess what? Can he follow through? Can he continue to follow through, I should say, on the promises he made to himself?
Yes.
And all of the things that it just seems like finally Ryan Poles has curated a wonderful landing spot, a wonderful roster.
Got him weapons.
The organization for the first time in my life looks like it's actually set up to develop a quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'm like that Will Ferrell Talladega Nights meme where I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
Actually, our good friend Rago, Nick Rago at Fox, he's a huge Bears fan, had a social for Fox Digital. And he sent me that meme yesterday because he's just like, I don't know what to do with all this buzz. And this is the thing, though. This is not the first time the Bears have been hyped up in the offseason.
Yeah.
So now I want to see if they can actually execute and follow through. But not only did Ryan Poles take years building this roster, but also Caleb Williams has been training for years for this. And his offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, has known him for years through the quarterback collective. There's a video of them working together in 2017.
I didn't even think about that. That's going to be a positive.
They should be kind of gelling very well. And I'm interested to see how this is all executed because, again, it's all about the execution now. The plan is set. It's a rock solid plan.
Yes.
But is it going to go according to that is my question. So
I think you have majority of the eyes, football fans and NFL players with all of the hype around it. I think most people are going to we're going to tune into the first game. Everybody.
I mean, Chicago's such a huge market. The Bears are have a huge fan base. It's nationwide. It's one of the most followed teams in the NFL behind the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And everybody is going to be watching, but Caleb Williams is used to that. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I'm excited. Okay. My second team I'm excited to watch. The Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they got their coach right finally, and Jim Harbaugh, he's coming off a natty. He seems to bring that culture that the Chargers have been missing, and they have their guy. So we've been talking about Justin Herbert. There's been a lot of talk around his talent, but there has been no playoff wins to show for it. He's 30-32 in his career with the Chargers over 4 years. Every season there has been the excuse. Maybe it's not the right coaching staff. Maybe just pile after pile of excuses. This is the year where we're going to know the truth. There's going to be too many eyes on you to be mediocre. Obviously, they're in the AFC West, so the Chiefs are always going to be their biggest challenge.
And the Chiefs are the biggest challenge for the entire
for
AFC
everybody.
At this point.
But they should be able to finish second in the division. They should take both games against the Broncos and the Raiders. Now, I don't want to say they have an easy schedule, but they have a lot of winnable games. As I mentioned, Broncos, Raiders, they're playing the Saints, the Titans, Panthers, Patriots. There's a lot of winnable games. It's not the toughest schedule that they have. So there's been so much hype around Justin Herbert since he got in the league, but hasn't gotten that playoff win. And there was maybe it's not the right personnel, maybe it's not the right coach. Now you got Jim Harbaugh. Now you have the culture, the talent, the leadership. This is the year you got to do something.
Right.
Who's your second team?
I kind of took a little of the easy way out with two teams in my division, but not for the reason everybody thinks. The Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Obviously, we want to see if now that Jordan Love has more of a target on his back, if he can continue this upward trajectory that we saw. I mean, he started the season a little rocky and then just kind of shot up. And by the end of the year, obviously, the Packers are the youngest team in the division and went to the divisional round.
Yeah.
Or the youngest team in the league, I should say, and went to the divisional round. Can you, sustain that?
Yeah.
But the biggest storyline to me is the defense.
Yeah.
Because the defense had underperformed for years.
Yeah.
They now bring in Jeff Hafley as their defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He's got an entirely different scheme. He's going to run a base 4-3 for the first. We're going to see a base 4-3 in Green Bay for the first time since 2008. 15 years. Now, defensive scheme is more fluid than ever. What your base is doesn't necessarily matter as much as it used to. But I'm very interested to see. They spent a lot of money on a safety in Xavier McKinney. Mm-hmm. They also went out and they got another safety in the draft from Georgia, that Javon Bullard, who I really, really like. They actually invested in the offensive line again with their first round pick, Jordan Morgan from Arizona. So I'm interested to see if they filled all those holes and what this defense is going to look like, and if this defense can support Jordan Love so that the Packers return to that division title conversation, because I think that they're very close.
They're close. They got lucky. I think the world was shocked at how good Jordan Love ended up being. But
that's the thing
great.
It's not luck. These guys have been doing this shit my whole life, or this stuff my whole life.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
They've been doing this stuff my whole life. So it's one of those things where it's not luck.
No.
This is exactly what they were planning on happening, and this is a plan that was executed to perfection.
All right, let's get to our third and final team that we are looking forward to and excited to watch this season. And mine's going to be the team that got all the way and fell short, the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they had everything going for them last season, except that they were playing Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in the Super Bowl. And at this point, no one can beat Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, even on a, quote, down year.
Down year, yeah.
But what I love to see is how a team can bounce back And can they recover? We saw what happened with the Eagles last season after they lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl the year before. They started out with a bang, going 10-1, and then fell off a cliff and finished the season 1-5. Now, the 49ers do have one of the best coaches in the league in Kyle Shanahan. They're all around one of the strongest teams last year. Brock Purdy led the league in passer rating, third in passing touchdowns. Offensively, they were second in yards per game, third in points per game. Defensively, they were tied for first in interceptions, third in points allowed per game. So they still have a good core, right?
Yeah.
But their guys are, again, as is everybody else in the league, getting older. They have a semi-difficult schedule, possible opportunity to repeat win NFC West and make it to the NFC Championship game for a third year in a row. But I'm always like, it's always so interesting when you like almost go all the way and don't quite get it and fall short. It's like, what are you going to do?
That's the thing too.
Yeah, the NFC Championship game, back-to-back years. Like, they've had all the pieces. Shanahan just can't get over that Super Bowl hump.
And it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid's fault.
Yeah. Okay, who's your third team?
My third team is the Houston Texans because
Ooh.
I am very interested. Again, you
Love
talk about
CJ.
pleasant surprises.
Yeah.
No one thought that they were going to be able to put it all together that quickly.
No.
The Deshaun Watson
Except for
trade,
maybe like CJ. Yeah.
Exactly. And obviously D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio, their GM. But honestly, it was the Deshaun Watson trade that gave them so much capital and so much wiggle room to remake this roster very, very quickly. So they did that. They had a ton of success this year, but now they're not taking anybody by surprise. But they did add some veterans to try and add some experience, that guys that have been in the playoffs, guys that have understand what it's like to have a successful run.
Yeah.
In Stephon Diggs and in Joe Mixon. Mm-hmm. But we're going to see what it looks like when they do have a target on their back. And the AFC South, I think the Titans are going to give them a little bit more problems than we think. I think the Colts could give them more problems than we think. But it should be kind of a down division.
Yeah.
A down year for the division again.
Yeah.
They should be able to get out of the AFC South pretty easily. But then again, you're talking about running into the Chiefs. You're talking about running into the Bills in the playoffs. You're talking about running into these AFC powerhouses. And how are they going to handle that now that is the expectation? It was not the expectation last year. It is now the expectation for the Houston Texans to make the postseason this year.